Hi, and welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And this is our podcast about all things crafty, all things with sticks and strings.
Welcome to our new subscribers.
Yes.
So and if you're watching and you haven't subscribed, this is a show where we talk about a lot of things, but we are basically doing cross stitch and knitting. Crochet and knitting.
Crochet. And, anything with a stick and a string.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do paper flowers and...
well, that's not really a stick and a
string.
Yes,
it is. They have wires.
Well, it's a stick. Okay.
But no strings.
We'll let that slide. We let that one slide. Yeah, so
anyway,
here.
Welcome.
And so first off, if you hear white noise going on, let's listen. That's our best friend, the fan. And it's too hot. This is a western-facing wall, which, you know, in any town can be hot, but in Arizona at 118 at 3:30 in the afternoon, I don't know, we're crazy, actually. But anyway, so it's really hot, so
I wanted to go swimming yesterday afternoon, and I went outside about 4 o'clock and went, yeah, no. And so I didn't go until 8, and it was still 109 degrees.
It was breezy, so it was cold, you know, after a while it got cold, you know, because wherever you're wet, you know, the wind hits you. But
cold is a relative term.
Yeah, but the water, you know, was nice, and you know we don't have a heated pool; it's just heated by the sun,
and it's very heated by the sun.
So it was the water was very comfortable.
It wasn't bathtub warm.
I have a sick toe, and I haven't been able to swim. Okay, so to enter their neighborhood it's a gated community, and so there's a little keypad. That keypad faces the western sun. So I have burnt my fingers more times than I can count. But today, I used a tool because I'm a monkey, and I figured out how to use a tool. And so this is a holder for like a pop socket. You put it in your vent, and it holds your phone. So I use a different holder now. So this has just been in the door of my car. So I held it, and I punched the numbers with this today. I was like, win!
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Like, I keep saying, I need to bring a chopstick. But then I was like, I don't have a chopstick. What can I do? And I saw that. So I was like, I'm a genius. Genius. I think Eve's going to go first.
Yeah. So I've been sewing a lot. It doesn't... I've been also ripping out a lot.
Unsewing.
Unsewing and sewing. So I finished this bag a few days ago, and I haven't gotten it on the Etsy site.
So cute. So beautiful.
As you remember, I made one right around Mother's Day, and I gave it away to a lucky viewer on my channel. But I also made this one. And this is the one, this is why I haven't put the other one on the Etsy site. I kept saying, I'll finish that and I'll put them both up together.
So beautiful,
so,
Eve.
Thank you.
I love that.
Thank you. And so I finished
it. And you have a Notions bag that goes with it, right?
Yeah, last week
the Notions bag is on the Etsy site already. And these should be up later today.
So pretty.
But I guess
I could start working on something. Can't
the little teapot on the...
Oh, yeah, there's a little teapot.
Short and stout?
It's not short. No. It's a little tiny... we'll have to take a picture, but it's a little tiny... it looks like it has little china stuff on it. And I had one to put on this one, and I haven't had any problem with these charmalongs that Michaels sells. Mm-hmm. They're really well made. They're sturdy, but... you know, sometimes things happen. And I went to put it on, and the lobster claw just came apart in my hand.
On the other bag.
On the other bag. Yeah, so I have to go buy another one. But that's done.
We have some little tiny lobster claws that one might fit on there.
If it's small enough, that'll be, you know. Necessity is the mother of invention. So I have cut and you know, the interfacing on there and everything, and I was going to start that this afternoon, but things kept happening. So, but I made one of the Notions pouches already. Hey, Naomi, I have the fabric right over there, and there's a big square that's going to be, you know,
I got it. Let me strip off the camera off
Kaboom.
That's 2 pieces, so be careful, don't drop it. So it's
So this is another one of our camp
Sorry for kicking the table.
fabrics.
it's fishing. It's got fishing lures and fish, and unfortunately no women fishing. Women fish.
I was saying that's for me.
Oh, this is upside down. I'm sorry.
Let me see
And-
that.
And
Okay, you guys.
Guys
come
fishing.
on.
There's
Look, fly
canoes and fishing.
My new love of fly fishing.
Fish all over there. Fish.
yeah,
Look
it's
at
really
that.
cool.
My
Of
birthday's
course,
coming up.
this isn't done yet, but
And this is obviously not done yet.
no. So, as Naomi was saying, this room is very hot, and I was working in here yesterday afternoon, and I think that's one of the reasons I'm getting overheated, because not only is it the room hot, and I've been keeping the fan on, but I have the iron set pretty hot. Because when you're working with cotton, you want the iron hot. And I iron these things a lot.
It's like standing over a stove, honestly.
Well, and it's heating the room.
and you have steam also?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
I'm not using steam. But I'm heating it's heating the whole room. I can tell when it's on from this side of the room.
Right. Oh,
So so yesterday I was like, I feel horrible. I felt all weak, and so I think that was part of it. So then I had been out in the heat earlier in the day.
It takes it out of you.
Yeah,
It's
it
awful.
really does. And then you're like, I don't want to do anything.
Can't think straight. when it's
That's
so
why that's why we had Chick-fil-A
This
yesterday.
reminds me of, I watched the movie Home the other day. It's a little cartoon movie. But there's one point where this little alien, Boov alien, he talks about, he gets overheated or something, and they're over the ocean, and he's just like, I can't stand it. My core is hot or whatever, and he jumps out of the car and jumps into the ocean and goes, and that's what it reminds.
Well, that's why I wanted to go
Stories remind me
swimming.
of.
That's why I
Yeah.
wanted to go swimming in the afternoon. I said that'll cool me off. I'm like, yeah, not if I step on that. We have a cool deck, so the decking itself, it's concrete, kind of stuff.
Okay,
But-
excuse me. I had a thing of thread, loose thread, this color,
That's
and now I can't find it.
Maybe it's stuck on the bottom of this.
There
There
it
it
is.
is.
Yeah,
There it is.
Yeah, the interfacing grabs things
Thank
like
you.
that. So, but the bricks that are around the pool,
Hot.
yeah, you've got to step over them.
Yeah.
and that we have flagstone. Don't step on that.
Even the cool deck.
And
Well,
you
and
can't
then
leave your
not only
shoes. You
that,
can't leave your shoes by the pool.
No,
'cause
because
they
they're in the
get hot.
sun. Not only that, but all of that reflecting the heat makes it like a little frying pan up there.
Yeah, I would have had to put on sunscreen. I prefer not
And
to
the
if I
dog.
don't have to. And I would have had to make the dog stay
Yeah.
inside, and she would have cried
Cried
because she
and
loves being in the backyard with us, especially when we're in the pool. She runs around the pool.
She's so cute.
I have the other day I bought for to play in the pool these little they're basketballs. They say Phoenix Suns on them. They're little basketballs and they're little foamy things, and you put them in the pool and they
They're
get
those
water.
splash
and
balls.
You can,
Yeah, they get full of water.
Well, the dog thinks they're dog toys.
Of course.
The other day I went out there to we
What else
have
do you expect her to do?
those buckets that we use for dyeing the t-shirts.
Uh-huh.
We had put them outside, and we thought, oh yeah, we need to bring them in because
They'll get
the
cracked.
sun will crack them.
It's probably too late for them. But
So I went out there to get the buckets, and one of the balls was there on the thing near the buckets, and I thought, how did this get over here? I thought maybe the wind blew it over there or something. So I put it back, and then later on that night when we went outside, the dog came and she was running. And I, why is she running? And he says, because she's got one of those balls. She went and got the ball.
and then when I went to open the door, she wanted to take it inside. So also, I have a finish. I
Take
finished.
a picture. Put a
Right.
picture here.
Proud to be an American by Stitching with the Housewives.
Cute.
And I have started Let Freedom Ring. But this is in my out and about stitching, so I'm not going to work on it right now. I have been working on for Cross Stitch Camp, Whale in the Light Bulb.
I just want to make a rhyme or a song or something out of that.
Whale in the
Every
Light Bulb.
time you say whale in the light bulb, I think to myself, whale in the light bulb.
You guys should go check out. She has an Etsy site, Cute Designs by Maria, and you know, I just bought. I remembered that this pattern didn't cost very much. I mean, I think it was $3.
Yeah.
And for a pattern that's this size,
Yeah.
that's pretty good, you know.
It's such a cute design.
And so you should go check it out because she's got a lot of really cute things. And I'm getting where I'm feeling like I might be finished before the end of June. So I'll be eligible for a prize. I don't know.
That's fun.
But my luck, I won't win one anyway.
I never win anything.
So
I want an iPad.
Oh, I know.
My niece wanted to.
Yeah, she
some
messaged
cross
me
stitch.
and she said, "I feel like doing cross stitch," and I said, "We can arrange that." And so we went all out.
Yeah,
if you're watching,
so-
Hannah, you won't be surprised, but
So
watch out, you're gonna get
got
lots of
this
stuff.
from Cute Designs by Maria. It's a little hedgehog.
hedgehog.
And I wanted to dye some fabric because I'm doing the Sal next month. Well, starting next month. Tiny Modernist, When Witches Go Riding. And so I dyed this fabric for it.
Well, that's neat.
It looks like dirty blue jeans, but I
Yeah.
think it'll be cool for a Halloween
Yeah, I think it'll look really neat.
Halloween pattern. And the threads, you know, they're dark and white, and I think they'll show up on that okay.
Yeah, Halloween patterns are always, you know, because you want something like, you know, something dark and murky and all that.
But they use dark threads.
But
See?
yeah.
So I dyed some fabric for the hedgehog while I was at it, and I dyed this. It's coffee tea dyed. This is all 14
Pretty.
count Ada. It's coffee tea dyed, and then I did a thing with the floss, which these are the flosses, and I went, yeah. Hannah is not going to want to do some of these threads on this fabric and they're the same color. So I said, that's not going to work. I'll keep that for a project of some kind. And this morning, I made green.
Nice.
So those will work out really well, I
We'll
think.
put some pictures.
And I have for Jolly July, I'm doing a kit. I think it's Dimensions kit
Oh, I forgot.
with a snowman. And the fabric that came with it was white, but I didn't want white, so I coffee tea dyed this piece that came with it.
Hannah would be very interested to know, did you actually drink the coffee after you dyed it?
No, because it was
No.
gross. So, so this is what I'm going to do my snowman on. Of course, I didn't bring the snowman or the picture of When Witches Go Riding because the picture doesn't have very much. And the snowman, well, you know, he's in a box right now. And then I dyed this.
That is cool.
And I was planning to use this for the Stitching with the Housewives honey bee.
So to get that thing, you twisted it, or how did you do
I
that?
twisted it,
The
and
fabric.
yeah, I twisted the fabric and I dyed it yellow. I mean, I twisted it a lot, and I kind of tied it in a little like pretzel shape or something. And you know, because when it's wet, it's very pliable. And I dyed it this yellow color, and then
It looks like a hand. The pink or coral.
it's even deeper on this side.
Looks like a hand. Yeah.
And so then I unwrapped it. I pulled it out and I unwrapped it and I twisted again in a different twist. And I added coral to the dye. I
That's so
didn't
cool.
switch it. I just added coral. and I forgot it was in there because I was doing something with one of the other fabrics, and I took it out, and I'm like, is that going to be too dark for that pattern? But I think it would look really cool.
For what pattern?
It's stitching with the Housewives honeybee, and it's a little honey thing with little yellow bees. But I'm going to have to look at the threads on it and see if it's too
Well, that
wild.
might work really cool for like a monochromatic, like just a one color pattern, like black or
maybe.
something
Yeah,
dark
so
color.
I'm thinking I might have to change whatever I'm doing. You know what? A Halloween pattern would look really cool on this too. But I really like the way it came out. I just don't think I'm going to be able to use it for what I intended, which is one of the reasons why I didn't bring this one, because, you know. But I might decide to go ahead and use it for honeybee. I don't know. Anyway, and then I'm going to be working on the Art Deco cat from Cross Stitching for Fun. And I didn't bring the paper for that either because I'm completely unprepared, because until Naomi, right when Naomi came in, I was still sewing. I was just putting away stuff. Oh, and I have to say, I am apparently challenged at buying tablecloths. So,
No comment.
a lot of the tablecloths that we've had are cloth. And when I'm sewing or doing something, the threads stick to them, so you can't really clean them off. And so
It's like that flannel board that Mom had.
yeah.
Flannel grass.
So I thought, well, okay, you know, so I've been buying plastic tablecloths, and I went to the same place and got the same tablecloth, and it was really see-through and cheapy, not as bad as Walmart, but I wasn't happy with them. So, not that it's that important.
Those little party.
Yeah, the little party ones
yeah.
at the dollar store.
Yeah.
So, you saw the 4th of July one I had on here. It's not really 4th of July. It's just
Memorial Day. The
Stars and Stripes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And what you couldn't see on the video is that it doesn't fit this table.
Well, yeah, it's too short.
Because I read rectangle and at Michael's, and I just said, oh, that's cool, and I got it, and I didn't even look at the size.
This is a very long table. It's like a 109.
Yeah, it's got 2 leaves in it. And so I was shopping at Fry's, and they have their spring stuff out and summer stuff out, and summer stuff. And my mother, you have to understand this table, my mother and tablecloths. There's a cloth tablecloth on this table, and then there was a vinyl one on top of that, and then another cloth tablecloth. And often she would put a clear
on top of that.
on top of that.
Yeah.
So
Well protected.
I thought that this tablecloth was a vinyl tablecloth because it says indoor outdoor. I would put a cloth tablecloth outside, but that's just me. So I thought, well, that's a cute pattern for summer, and we can have it on there, but I'll take off this vinyl one that she'd had on there for years and just put it aside for a while and just have something different, and we could put a cloth one on this when we want to. Yeah, it's cloth. It's a sturdy cloth, not like a normal tablecloth, you know. It's a nice one. But the funny thing is, it's got a hole in the middle and a zipper.
And a zipper that
Right
goes
your
right
arm
here.
sitting.
Because
And
it's
I'm
for
like-
like an outdoor table with
and-
an umbrella.
And I went back and I was,
But you can
but
use
it
this-
actually fits the table. I couldn't use it on the table outside, which is nice.
I was going to say, yeah, because they have a table with an umbrella
Yeah,
outside.
but
So.
and it's long, so this would be nice. But
she can't read.
no, it didn't say that on there. It didn't say hole and zipper. It just said indoor outdoor.
Well, we are a cursed family of buying the wrong thing all the time. Like, we were at the grocery store, and my son went. I said, grab one of those. I don't remember what it was. And he, instead of he looked at one and put it. I don't know what. I said, yeah, that one right there. He goes, this one. He pointed at it, and then he grabbed the one next to it. And I said, check it and make sure that's the right thing. And he's like, yeah, it is. I'm like, okay, but because that's how what my mom always did. She would look at something.
I do it too.
And I do it too, and you do it, and grab the thing next to it, and it's completely the wrong thing, or the wrong flavor, or the wrong type.
The one I remember is she meant to buy like hamburger helper, and she picked up the box next to it, and it was like tuna helper or something like that.
That's what I mean.
And she didn't realize it until she went to make dinner, like a couple weeks later, and she looked at the box and was like, "This is not what I meant to buy." But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And what was funny is that she was a first grade teacher, and so she would start laughing and say how she couldn't read.
Because she could only read the basics.
My mom was very, very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna laugh about that for a very long time. The hole in the zipper, because I don't know that we can keep this on here, and it looks, nice.
Silly.
It's a nice.
It's a pretty pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, you can use it outside.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go next because I just have a couple things to talk about. But I got stories. Oh, do I have stories? Okay, so first thing, I'm cross stitching. Look. This is a pattern that Eve showed you last week. Farm fresh eggs, and I loved it. Yeah, stitching with the housewife. Farm fresh eggs, and if you looked at our Instagram, I posted a picture of this the other day because I was marveling at myself that I'm almost done with this puppy. So
if you pick a pattern that you like and that's easy
well, and
enough,
you know what, it's so simple, and there's it's not. I always love the what do you call it? That full coverage with shadows and 1,000 colors. I love those. I love the way they look, and that's what I want to do. But this is more my speed. Anyway, so I'm almost done with that, and my plan is to finish it and give it to the lady from whom I buy eggs every week. And we're very sad because she told me on yesterday, I met her on the road outside her little farm, and she said that 2 of her chickens had died in the heat, and that 1 was probably going to die yesterday. So it was very sad. She has a lot of chickens, but still, and it's so sad.
It's still hot.
Yeah,
so
she told me that somebody
more.
in Moab, is that Arizona?
Utah?
I think so. Utah, maybe. Friend of hers, she lost 2 lambs to the heat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's when we say it's serious, it really is. But so not just because that she lost chickens, but also because she's so great.
Well, and homeless people, it's very dangerous for them. They can't get enough.
Yeah. But I was saying,
people without air conditioning.
Yeah.
Or,
my Rachel posted and kind of a joke, but it's not a joke. The things that Arizonans are most afraid of, and it had all these little things, and then the whole pie was taken up by air conditioning going on.
Yeah, it's dangerous. But anyway, I wanted to give this to her not just because she lost chickens, but because she's so great, and her eggs are the most beautiful. She has different breeds of chickens, and so we get a brown egg, a white egg, a blue egg, a green egg. So it's a lot of, it is just really special. So I'm making this for her, and I don't know how I'll finish it yet, but I hope to finish it this week and get it to her next Friday. So that's me. I'm so proud of myself. And then, and I learned all about thread drops because I didn't have any bobbins, and I love this so much more. I didn't even know this. So you put the threads in here like a overhand, like not an overhand knot, but a.
She's new to thread drops.
What? What?
I said she's new to thread drops.
I am. I'm so excited. No, the reason I'm excited is because the one thing I hate is unwinding, cutting, winding back up, and But this, you just pull one thread at a time, and it stays here, and I love it. It's like genius. So whoever thought of that, this is genius. New to me. And
I was watching Flosstube yesterday. She was all excited, buying all kinds of cardstock paper and just making thread drops.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it because I was like, the whole skein can be here, and you pull out one thread at a time. It makes so much sense. Okay, so then the other thing I have going on, because you know me, I have to start things. So I went to this place called Bookman's, which is a used bookstore here in Arizona, and I found this old, I don't know what year it is. I should look and see. I think it's pretty old though, because there's no digital. Oh, it's only 2006, but still, nowadays that's getting old. So it's called
10 years, more than 10
yeah,
years.
it's called Knitting Nature, and this lady was a designer. I don't know if she still is, of her Baracco yarns, which if you know yarns, you know that's beautiful stuff. And she designed these based on patterns that occur in nature. So things like spirals, like on a conch or whatever, and it's just really, really cool, beautiful designs of like mathematically things that just occur in nature. Like, I don't know if you can see this sweater. It's got a spiral on the sleeve like a conch shell. Look at that. Isn't that cool?
Mm.
So I told Hannah, go for that book, because I figured I'm going to challenge myself. And it is a challenge because this is written in a way that patterns are no longer written, or like a lot of patterns I have now, they spell out exactly like, you know, every 13 stitches do an increase or whatever. This says increase evenly across the row. And there's just a lot of writing that's I've heard about, like when they say, when patterns say this, well, this is one of those patterns that says that, you know, that's like, you have to kind of know what you're doing and figure it out a little better. But anyway, I said, Hannah, pick something before she left, and now I don't have it. I'm going to find it. Shoot, I must have taken the sticky out.
And I have been badgering her about writing down her pattern.
The crochet pattern
yeah.
I'm planning on. Yes.
She's in the process of doing that. And we did get your message about
wanting it. Yes. So I will do it. This top, it's called the shell tank. So it's kind of a mathematically made tank top. You make the back, and then the front is 3 sections. You can see they're seamed together, and one of them has a cable pattern on it. It's made in cotton, and so look at that. Isn't that pretty?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
It's asymmetrical. It's really cool. So I was actually able to start it. I found we do these Zoom calls with yarn, but we found this at Hobby Lobby. It's a cotton linen blend, and it's called Sulfur. It's really her color. She loves this. It's like a rich mustard yellow, really pretty. And I was able to start the back, and it's got a really nice drape to it and a really nice feel. And of course, since I've been doing the knitting, the Master Hand Knitting program, I'm like evaluating my knitting. I'm like, oh, it's not even. You can see, but it's really nice, and it'll be good. And I think this yarn is going to show stitch definition really well because of the linen in it. So I have a few inches of the back done. I just thought, well, that's fun, something to do. Okay, so Beth will tell you about the pattern she picked for Hannah, because Hannah wanted it. Thing. But this is what I'm doing. Oh, it's inside out. Shoot. During the pandemic, we decided we were going to bake a lot, right? So I was at the store and I saw this flour sack with, what is it? How much is it? 20 pounds of flour. And so I bought it and I put it in containers. But I love this bag, and Hannah loved this bag. And she's like, make me a bag out of it. So I've had it in my box for, I don't know, a year. So I decided I'm going to make her cross-stitch bag out of it. And I'm going to pair it with this blue rope and make it into a string backpack. Isn't that cute?
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I really like
I
that.
love it. So I'm gonna cut down the top.
It has a little windmill.
And make it into I'm gonna separate it at the sides and make it into a little what do you call it? A casing for the rope, and then put interfacing here. And I learned how to put grommets on. I was saying that should be I don't know. It sounds like a cuss word. Grommet. So anyway, I'm gonna put grommets down here and make it into a little string backpack, and then put the patterns that they're gonna the kits that they've made up for her and put it in here. So I just love this. I love this picture so much. So that's what I'm going to do. I got to get it done this weekend because we need to mail it so that she can have it before she goes to Connecticut.
Because she won't be stuck with nothing to do.
Yeah, she'll be stuck for a few days in quarantine. So when she gets there, so it'll be nice to have her something to do. So that's me. You tell what you're doing, and then I'm going to tell a story because I got a story to tell.
Right now, I'm stitching on Easter preparation.
Is that one of your? Is it just extra for your camp?
Yeah.
It's not for camp. It's just.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
it's extra.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah.
It's not one of your camp.
So the ones I'm talking about that I'm doing next month aren't my camp project either. I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't have enough time.
And the reason I'm doing this is because
Did you finish?
I haven't finished.
Ah.
And hold on a second, I'm trying to there.
Let me look at your stitching while you're talking. I want to look at it.
So I've been working on, of course, the Prairie Schooler Blockwork Angels, and I finished the last one of the set of 8. Yeah. So here's the whole set of 8. I've shown this pattern before.
You hear people going, yay!
Yes. And so this was the last one I had, this angel with a candle.
What's
so
really
show
nice,
your whole page. Show your whole.
Yeah, I will.
What's really nice is that she's been working on these for a really long time,
Yeah.
and Cross Stitch Camp gave her the push to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I when I started this, I started out pretty strong. I did like 3 or 4 right away. And then I set it aside because
Hold it up. That's cool.
I will. And so it's been languishing in
That's
my
so nice.
thing for such a long time. And
I'm gonna hold it up close to the camera.
finally
That's really
did
cool.
I finally did the last the first one in the second row. I had started at some point, and it was one of my mania projects this year.
Yeah.
And
Okay, now I'm
The
gonna
back
do something.
looks just
I was
like the
gonna
front.
say, look at this beautiful, neat back. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That is not what the back of mine looked like.
It's very nice. That's so beautiful. So now you get to take them each out. You're gonna make ornaments.
Yes.
That's
And
nice.
I have room on the end here
For that other one.
for this little mini card. This is a Prairie Schooler mini card. This angel, well, on here it says, it talks about, see our new books, Starry Night, PQ&R, and Santa and Friends. So this was, I don't remember when this was from, when Starry Night was new. But these were promotional cards, I guess, that they gave to stitch LNSs or something like that. But anyway, so you can buy them though as sets. So I talked about this a couple weeks ago, I think. But anyway, this one is a little bit different because it has blue in it. Oh, golly
Did
gosh!
you spill?
No,
Almost,
but
she clobbered it with her
I came very close.
tablet.
Okay.
So this one, these are all black and gold, and this one is blue and black and gold.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
This
so
is
it's
okay. I had never seen this because I've just seen you like, oh, I'm in progress. This one with the little sheep is so cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's the one with sheep. There's one with doves. There's one where she's playing the harp.
Yeah,
With the angel playing the harp.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, the birds. Oh, that's
Yeah.
pretty. I
And
love
then-
those sheep.
Yeah. And then this one playing the lute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are cool.
So
Congrats.
I love the look.
Yeah.
of
You know
them.
who would like these? I don't. He's probably never seen them.
Mm-hmm.
Mark,
Mm-hmm.
my husband, Mark.
Yeah.
He loves angels like that. He
Yeah.
would love those.
So yeah, I finished this project, and I want to thank Ginger Gerald, who I'm sure doesn't watch this, but he has a Flosstube, but it was
You saw it on there first.
yeah, that was where I first saw it, and he just did 2 of them, and I don't remember which 2 he did, but I saw them and I thought, oh, that's so great, and so that's why it was one of my, I chose it for one of my
That's so.
for
cool.
my June project. for cross stitch camp because the prompt was to do something that was inspired by somebody else, and so I thought, well, that's the one that I was inspired to do by Ginger Gerald. So I also had some stuff that was going on. I also dyed fabric, and
hers came out so beautiful.
I had done for Spring Scamper. I had the piece of cloth that I had then was I used the aquamarine dye, and I really liked the way it came out. But it's on linen or even weave. So it's I wondered how Lugana would take the dye.
What is Lugana? What does that mean?
It's just another kind of
what's it made out
even
of?
weave, basically. I think it's 100% cotton also.
Oh, okay.
But it's heavier. If you feel it, it feels like to me it feels like denim. That's what this is on.
Oh, okay.
Also, it feels like denim because it's that thick. It's a little bit thicker.
Mm-hmm.
That's
nice.
As opposed to like linen, which is generally thinner. It feels to me.
Mm-hmm.
And softer, and so this is thick and has a little bit of weight to it. But anyway, so I used the aquamarine on this, and I added again a splash of yellow, and this time a splash of evening blue.
That's neat.
Just poured it over there. So yeah, this one came out really cool. I don't know what I'll use it for because I don't have any specific plans for this.
I just wanted to dye fabric, so she came out with a whole pile of fabrics and said, "Okay, let's dye fabric."
I have like one thing of linen that's 32 count. These are all 28 count. Monaco, Lugana, whatever. And then I dyed this one. I have a cherry red. This is cherry red, and then 2 different colors of green.
That's really cool.
I think it's the darker green, and I think apple green. I forget. But yeah, so it's kind of
plans for that one.
No, I don't have any plans for any of these.
Oh, that's fun. Though.
But this is also these are all, like I said, 28 count. Lugana, Monaco, whatever. I don't know. They say both Monaco and Lugana.
Ooh,
So
this is beautiful.
and then this one. It looks kind of purpley, but it's actually navy blue. The dye color that I used, and it's of course darker blue in the middle. And I didn't mean the one thing on this, you can actually see the crease where the fabric is creased.
Oh.
I think I didn't uncrease it, scrunch it up well enough.
So the dye.
So
Oh,
so you can see the line across the middle.
Oh well.
But
You can over dye it or do something else.
But
Or just stitch right across that.
yeah, something with a stitch across the middle.
I'll do full coverage on this one.
I have one other thing to add after.
But so
Project-wise.
yeah, so these all came out very nice. I don't, like I said, I don't have any specific projects for those, but I've got
neat.
something to choose from. So for Hannah.
So funny, she said, "I want to cross stitch," and we like jumped on it.
I brought the little stitch cards out, but the little patterns out, but they're in my bag, and I don't know where my bag is.
Oh, well, we'll put pictures up.
Yeah. But so I bought her a hoop,
Yay.
a little hoop, and this is again the ones that I like. They sell them at Hobby Lobby, but they also have them at Michael's. They don't have them at Joann's. At Joann's, they have different brands, but these have that little ridge in the middle, and I like those because they stay tight. They lock the fabric in, and they don't slip. I mean, I would guess you could probably make them slip if you had a fat cat like mine on there, but they generally don't slip. And this is my little thing I had on the fabric that,
Oh.
so it's 14 count Aida that I dyed with sage.
Ooh.
And I cut it into 2 pieces because I didn't want her to have to struggle with, measuring or whatever. So
Will that
it
fit in
won't.
that hoop?
Yeah, it'll fit. Well, I think so.
I have a smaller hoop,
Yeah.
but then I could send her because that won't.
Oh, hers. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
so the
pretty.
pattern will just take up the middle of it. But I just cut. I had this larger piece and I just cut it in half so that it would fit. But like I said, I dyed these with sage, and
nice.
so
Did you just use like kitchen sage,
Mm-hmm.
or like actual sage from a plant?
Yeah. Well, from a shaker thing. But so they're very, very lightly modeled.
You guys should try onion skins.
Yeah, I haven't done that.
She did avocados.
Yeah.
Oh, and what pattern is it then?
So this is Priscilla's pocket. There's a whole bunch of these. They're little bitty cards like this, and they're sold as kits, I think,
Oh yeah.
because this was originally a kit. And I stitched. They're over there on the table.
Oh yeah.
But I stitched these. This is a stoneware kitten and stoneware cat, and so the kits come with the chart, which is on the back of this little card, and then like this, But they come in a little packet with a piece of linen and the threads, and these use blackberry jam. But it comes with the chart, linen, floss, and trim. So it comes with a little pom-pom trim thing made by Lady Dot Creates, I think. But of course, I don't have those, so I just...
Yeah, she just wants to
So
stitch.
yeah, so I got the fabric. This is the 14 count Ada, which would be easier for her to use. And I made just like working copies of the charts.
Yeah. To send to her.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
And then that way if she wants to mark them or whatever,
Yeah.
she can do it. And then I bought her. They only
These
call
are
for
cute.
one color, and I only bought one color. But I got her some floss
she can
bobbins in
use
case she
Eves on
wants
Eves.
to use them. Yeah.
She-
So yeah,
Cute.
there's 2 cats and 2 dogs, and they have a little slit.
Well, she has a lot of floss with mine. So.
Yeah. So and then I bought a whole bunch of junk. So I bought her a pair of scissors.
Because Aunt Beth is on scissors.
Yeah. And I bought this little needle case. It's a little magnetic needle case, and that way she can stick in there. We have to send her a needle minder.
Oh yeah, I said that.
Yeah. I forgot. And I bought her a quarter gauge. Hobby Lobby has a whole set of Artiste brand things now. So they have like just like all kinds of accessories, And so one of the things they have is these corner gauges. So, you can measure
Yeah.
1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches, whatever.
That's nice.
And so I thought she might either she'll fold it in half to find the middle, or she can
Yeah.
do it from the corner or whatever. And I bought her a pack of needles
So nice.
and a threader, because I don't know whether she'll be a thread licker or she'll use a threader. And then we chose, Naomi and I chose this variegated, this is DMC 111. It's a variegated floss.
Because it looks most like the boys.
Yeah.
The kitty boys.
Yeah, because we decided, she would choose a floss that looks like the cats. And so she chose this color. So this is all
That's so cute.
for
And
Hannah's.
so we'll put it in the flour sack and
Yeah.
send it off
Yeah.
this week as soon as I get it done. I need to borrow some. Do you have fusible interfacing I can borrow?
That thing behind you is a bolted fuse.
Cool.
But I have some that's not.
I realized I think I have fusible interfacing, but I don't know where it is in my fancy organizational box.
I have
So-
most of a
But I
5
thought
yard.
Eve has some.
I have most of a 5 yard.
Because that's what stopped me
Yeah.
from actually doing that yesterday. Because I was like, oh, I need the interfacing. Oh,
But
I have one other. Oh, sorry, you done?
go ahead. Yeah.
No.
Well, no, I'm not done, but
Oh, I have another. So, okay, so our mama passed away in December, and I've been watching the extended version of Lord of the Rings. Like, I bought all 3. We have them on disc, but I bought all 3 digitally so I can watch them on my phone. And actually, when I picked up the stitching, I've started seeing scenes. You know how that is? Like, so you're watching it while you're doing something.
Yeah.
But there's a quote in there, and I thought, I want to make it into a cross stitch, I think. It's kind of long. But at the end, you know, Frodo goes to the Grey Havens, right? And Sam is sad. And then it shows at the end where Sam goes home, and there's a voiceover of Frodo. And he says, "My dear Sam, you cannot always be torn in two. You will have to be one and whole for many years. You have so much to enjoy and to be and to do. Your part in the story will go on." Mm-hmm. So anyway, I thought that would make a really beautiful cross stitch to hang on the wall, and just to remind myself and whoever else might be suffering to just to remember that, you know, there's so much more to do and to live for. And anyway, I wrote that down last night while I was knitting or whatever, and I thought, so look for a pattern coming soon. So I'm going to do that, and I will actually stitch it myself instead of saying, you should make a pattern like this. But I can't stitch it. Potato.
Actually, I think I'm going to do that pattern and have it as the free pattern in July.
Potato? Oh. I've seen t-shirts with that. Potato, boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. So that's my
question about that would be copyright issues.
If I'm not selling it, it's not a copyright issue.
Oh, you mean this?
Yeah.
This quote? Yeah, maybe. But if you quote J.R.R. Tolkien, I mean, isn't that, or...
Yeah, if you credit him.
If you credit, of course I would credit him as the quote. People put quotes on stitching all the time, right?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
These are discussions for another time.
Sorry.
But,
business discussion.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was
move your Coke out of the way.
Sorry.
There's no place to put it. She's
and
in
you
the
know what?
kitchen.
This is not absorbent. I was going to tell you because I picked up my Coke and there's little beads. Look, there's little beads of
I'm telling you,
moisture.
I like this tablecloth, but it was not what I was expecting it to
coasters. Anyway,
but so the other day we were at Hobby Lobby getting stuff for Hannah.
Yeah, Hobby Lobby and Joann's and Michael's.
Well, so it's like this. It's like, hey, I need to go to Hobby Lobby. Okay.
Call Naomi, see if she wants to go too.
Yeah. So this kit is for doing resin jewelry, and so this kit comes with you can make necklaces or bracelets or whatever, but so there's some charms and molds and the little thingies to go around the mold, you know. So anyway, so I haven't read all about this yet, but I bought this kit, and then I bought some because they were all like 50% off, whatever. So this is like a $40 kit, and it was, you know, $20 or whatever. So it was on sale. So, but I also bought this little pack of just starfish that you would put in, you know, in the resin, whatever. And then I bought this little pack of, they're just holographic, you know, sheets, yeah, of, they're all like, I guess, space themed. There's UFOs.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But you can also put flowers and all kinds of stuff
in
there.
there's all kinds, you know, you can.
So our thought was
this kit comes with glitter and some other charm thingies.
Little flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our thought was it might be fun to use that for scissor fobs and stuff like that. That's cool. So, coming soon.
Yeah. Once I learn and
coming soon to an Etsy shop
figure out.
I first have a sad story, and that is, you know, this beautiful scissor fob that they made me with a fish on it that looks like my Lawrence Fishburne.
Did Lawrence die?
Not yet, and I don't know what's wrong, but he is dying. He spins, like, he'll be on the bottom of the tank, kind of like, it's gross, like folded in half, like, and so Mark would go and and he's like, okay, maybe he's finally dead, and I mean, it sounds awful, like we're just leaving him there to die, but I mean, what do? It's just the fish, and so he goes to scoop him out, and he'll swim away, and then he just floats to the bottom. He won't eat. He's not swimming around, so he's dying. And every day we're like, Is he still alive? So it's kind of sad.
That's
Poor
very
Lawrence.
sad.
Yeah. So
Well, now I'm
we don't know
sad.
what happened. I know, I'm sad too. I'm very sad. So
I lost my. Oh, there it is.
it is. Sorry. Yeah. So there's that, and you just put the needle underneath.
Okay.
Oh. Anyway, so 2 stories. 3 stories. First story, I'll go backwards in time. The first story I had was just coming here. I went to get these Cokes, right? And I buy 4 because Eli likes to come with, and he sits in there and laughs at us. And he's laughing right now. So I go to McDonald's and I ask for 4 Diet Cokes, and so I get up to the window, and so first he starts to hand me them separately. And I said, can I have a drink carrier? And he's like, okay. And so I'm looking in, and I notice that he has a drink like this sitting right by the window, and he's got our Cokes over there. Because like it's his, because he's half drunk, and it's got a straw in it like this. And so then
They're not allowed to do that.
well, it's got a straw in it.
Yeah, but it's against.
Well, I don't know, but it's right there by the window. So then he puts the 4 drinks in there.
Is this mine?
Yes,
Yeah.
in their very floppy. I was shooting for demonstration.
No, I was gonna grab it because that's not. Wait, is that
no,
mine?
because mine's over here.
Okay.
So then he puts our drinks in what have become very floppy drink carriers now. Anyway, so he turns like this. I'm backwards to the way he was, but he turns towards the window, and he hits his drink, and it falls over, and then it rolls off and falls to the ground. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like it's my fault. Idiot. And then he's doing this, and he's looking, and his hand is half out the window toward me, and I'm in my bigger car now. It's actually harder to get things than it is when you're in a little car and you go like this, because you're kind of like, I'm too short to put my arms out the window. It's a long story, but anyway, so I'm like, wait, because it's half out the window, and he's about to let go of the thing. And I do not have it. And I'm like, wait. Because he's looking at the floor and worrying about his Coke. And I'm like, look at me and do this first. I don't care about your Coke. And I'm sorry you dropped it, but you did it. Why am I I'm sorry about your Coke. Like it's my fault. Idiot. Anyway, so that was the adventure. That was the adventure of the day. This point. So,
which is why they're not allowed to do that.
Anyway, I'm like, see, he didn't even, he still, even though I'm like trying to grab the thing and trying to make sure, because the Cokes are going like this.
Well,
I'm like, wait. They're very
is it
floppy.
those? Oh yeah, it's those cardboard ones.
Yeah.
They also have those 2 for 2 drinks.
Yeah.
Those are supposed to be put in a bag.
Yeah.
But half the time they hand them to you like that. It's like,
Anyway, so
what am I supposed to do with this?
So that was my adventure today on the way here. And then, but on, what day was it? I lost the
Thursday,
whole
I think.
day. It was Thursday. I had an eye appointment to check my retinas, because I think I may have mentioned, they told me I had diabetic retinopathy. So then I go to get this scan done with dye, and they said it's a very safe dye, it's vegetable dye. And so I'm sitting there. First of all, they said, okay, my appointment was at 4, and Eve drove me because I would be dilated. Good thing you drove me after all that.
Mm-hmm.
I would be dilated and blind, so we planned for her to drive me. And we left here around 3 because it was way up in town, pretty far, and it was trafficy, and we thought we didn't want to be late. So we left at 3. Got there at 3:30. And we sat in the car for a little while. I'm like, you know what, let's just go in, and maybe they'll take me early. And we walked in, and the lobby was packed full of people. The days of...
I was lucky to find
you know how in the pandemic you never waited for a doctor? At least that was my experience. Like they don't overbook anymore. They don't want people in the lobby anymore. You know how it was like that? Well, I think those days are over because it was packed.
Well, it was. There was like 3 chairs and 2 chairs.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
so
they
they separated
them.
everybody, but there's a lot of doctors there. So
yeah.
I guess they
actually there was only 2.
was
they
it
told me.
really?
Yes. There's 2 doctors. They said. So finally, we got there at 3:30.
It was
at
awful.
4:30, I was like, I've been here for an hour. And they're like, yeah, there's 2 people in front of you. Well, so in eye doctors, they take you back, they look at you, they do certain things, they dilate your eyes, and then they send you back. So we were hearing other people being called, but it was like 5 people. And I think finally at about 5 o'clock, I finally got called back the first time. So they saw me and did the usual and dilated my eyes and tested for glaucoma with some weird pen. I was like, where's the pretty blue light that doesn't hurt? And she was like, they will stick this pen in your eye.
Did they blow air on you?
Okay. That's new. Send me back to my other office that doesn't do that. Anyway, so then I went out and waited for my eyes to dilate. And I don't even know what time it was. Finally, they called me back. And okay, I decided, I'm not doing it today, but I decided I really like wearing dresses in this heat. So I had a dress on, but it was sleeveless. And by the time, and I didn't think, I have lots of knitted shawls for just this occasion in my thing. And I didn't think to bring one because it was 100 and whatever when we left. But I was craving my shawl because by the time I was freezing. So anyway, I go back there and this guy takes me back.
Because they're never happy in Arizona.
No.
It's either too hot or too cold.
This guy takes me back and, well, the air conditioning is wild, right? Because it's so hot. And it has to be that way, because if it's not, then you complain it's too hot in the building. But so he takes me back and he goes, okay, I'm going to take some colored photos of your eyes. And I said, I was told I was going to have an IV. And he goes, it's not ordered here. And I was like, well, that's what he told me, and that's why I came all the way to Phoenix, was to have this. And he said, well, let me look at your chart. So he gets on the computer and he's like, oh yeah, sure enough, it was ordered. So speak up for yourself. Lesson number 5 from last week, remember? Speak up for yourself, because if I had said, okay, I would have wasted the whole time there. So anyway, or I would have avoided a very bad experience. So he's like, okay, you're right. And so he tells me about this vegetable dye. He goes, it's made from vegetables. I think he said tomato, but I couldn't understand everything he was saying. And then he said, and synthetic water? I was like, what is synthetic water? How do you create synthetic water? It's just H2O, right? Like, he's like, no, it's synthetically made so that it can adhere to the dye and so that it can be injected in your bloodstream. And I was like, okay. So synthetic water and some vegetable dye, and it's very safe. 1 in X many thousand people have this reaction, 1 in X many thousand people have this reaction, and you'll know right away, and, it's pretty safe, and, da-da-da. I was like, okay. So I still stained, look. I'm still stained on my arm orange, orangey yellow. So he puts in the IV. And it's funny because it's this big machine. It reminded me of, what's the name of the robot in that Disney movie with Eva, remember? Wall-E.
Wall-E.
That thing looked like Wall-E with a big eye in the middle. and he's like, okay, put your head here. He's rolling my head around. And I was like, okay. So he's like, and so he took some pictures, and then he did the IV, and then he, took some pictures. And he was waiting, I don't know what he was waiting for a second. Oh, because you take the pictures, and then you do the dye, you take the pictures, and then you wait a few more minutes, and you do it again. So it gets all through your bloodstream, whatever. And while I was waiting that extra 2 minutes or whatever, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, my throat itches. But I'm sure it's my imagination, because I'm just like, oh, allergic reaction. I'm supposed to be, monitored. Because and while he was waiting, he goes, you're well past any bad reactions. Well past. Like, if you were going to, have a heart attack, you would have already done it, right? Because, 1 in so many thousand people have a heart attack. So he's like, you're way past it. And I'm like, well, I think my throat itches. And I'm like, you know how your back of your throat itches, and you're, trying to scratch it through your ears? And I'm like, and finally I said, and then my lip started itching. And I'm like, I think I'm having a reaction. And he goes, oh, okay. So he goes, well, here, take some more pictures, just real quick. and then he goes, okay, we'll get you some Benadryl. So he runs out. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm okay. Literally, that's what he's doing. Okay, now this side. And so So he runs out to go get the Benadryl, and then some other guy comes, and then they have to go get the water, and he goes, "Do you want 2 Benadryl?" And I was like, "Yeah, if it'll get me out of making dinner," which it did. So he gave me the Benadryl, and because by the time I took it, I was feeling like a tightness right here, and like feeling like I had to cough, and I was fine. And then I went into the exam room and saw the doctor, and first he comes in and he goes, "Oh," he's looking at my papers. He goes, "Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to have Dr. So-and-so come in and look at you because it's very interesting." I was like, okay. So he comes in and he's looking at my scans, this other guy, and he's like, "Well, I don't know. And then my regular doctor comes in and he goes, "Well, what do you think?" He's like, I don't know. So they determined he doesn't think it's diabetic retinopathy, but I have weird spots all over my retinas, and actually in the center, in the macula, I have spots that like were glowing. So he's like, "We don't know what this is. With your history from like my dad has macular degeneration," he goes, "It's a little concerning, but it's nothing we need to treat right now. So I guess go back in 6 months." But so then I went home and
she didn't mention that I was the last person sitting
yeah,
in the lobby waiting.
It was like
she was the last patient out. Yeah, it was late. It was 6:30, 6:45.
Yeah, and I come out and she's there by herself, stitching, and freezing to death. And so we drove home, and halfway home I was like,
"Oh, but we get to stop at Starbucks."
Yeah, yeah,
where they didn't have tea and they didn't have lemonade.
Starbucks, like, we're out of tea, we're out of Starbucks. I mean, we're out of lemonade. We're out of this. We're out of that. I'm like, well, do you have a lemon loaf or a pumpkin loaf or something? I'm dying. Yeah, and then halfway home, I was like, I was starting to feel sleepy. I'm like, I better call Mark right now because I'm not. I walked in the door. I went to the bathroom. I got in bed and I didn't get up till 9. And then I ate and then I went back to bed. Oh my gosh. Okay, last story. Oh my gosh. I don't remember what night it was. We decided, it was pretty late in the evening, and we decided we were going to go buy dinner. And when it's pretty late, your options start to dwindle. And I was like, well, because I didn't want a burger, I didn't want, it's just like, well, what about Boston Market? That sounds good. Okay. So we all decided what we wanted. And the only Boston Market near us is a little bit of a drive. And I get there. I didn't tell you any of this. So they've never heard this story. I get there, and I'm driving. So it's on the corner, kind of crooked in the corner of the shopping center. And there's, you enter further down, and you drive up the line, along the street, but in the parking lot, right? And then there's a driveway. And there's like a grocery store, a big grocery store or something there. So there's, how traffic comes out, right? Well, there's a car sitting in that driveway, just beyond the past where I would go, but he's just sitting there. He doesn't have his blinkers on. He doesn't have his hazards on. He's just sitting there, and it's full on dark, right? And so I pull up, and I'm looking at him like, if you're gonna go ahead, because I didn't know if he was looking at his phone and then was gonna drive and not know that I was there. So I flashed my lights at him like, go ahead and go. And he wouldn't go. So I drove past him and I looked at him, and he's just sitting there. Okay, that was number one weird thing, which I forgot, actually, with the ensuing problems. So as I'm pulling up to Boston Market, there's a small crowd of people out in the front door. So I'm standing there, and I look in, and the restaurant, the lights are on. There's no dining in. So the tables, where the tables were, is dark, but where the food is lit up. But these people there's nobody in there, and the people are standing outside. So I rolled my window down and I said, "Are they closed?" And they're like, the doors are locked, but they're supposed to be open till 11. It says on the door, 11 o'clock. And so I'm like, that's weird. And I'm like, yeah. And she was like, I see people walking around in there. There's and I'm like, this is so weird. So I'm like, well, this one has a drive-through. So I was going to go through the drive-through. And they're like pulling on the door and knocking on the door and looking in there, and nobody's responding. No one's coming to the door, and they know someone's in there. So I drove around, and I got in front of the mic, and it was like feedback noise, and I was like, hello, and I heard and all this noise, and I'm like, I felt like a little bit like in a nightmare. It was like a nightmare monster noise coming out of there, and I knew it was just feedback. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna drive around to the window, right? Because I'm like, if you're open and your drive-thru's open, your lights are on, and you can't hear anybody, okay, well, I'll just go order at the window. So I pull up to the window, and there's not a soul in there. And I'm looking in there, and I see bags for like DoorDash or like online orders sitting ready to go. And I see like a washcloth, like mid-swipe, and I see a bowl mid-fill sitting on the counter. I see steam. The food's out. There's no, like, and so I'm like, it was like, did the rapture happen? Like, it was like that. Like, what happened? And then the lady had said she saw somebody running around in there or walking back and forth with a headset on or something. So I pulled around to the front again, and I was talking to this ladies, and they're like, she said, what did you hear? And I told her, and she's like, I've seen a guy walk back and forth with a headset on. So they're in there. Okay? So we talked a little bit, and I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to go to Cane's or whatever. But so we were talking, and she's like, maybe we should call 911. And I said, maybe. And she goes, well, she told me, go around through the drive-thru again and tell them you're going to call 911 and see what they say. And I was like, well, that's a little dangerous, but okay, I'll be stupid. And I drove around, and this time, oh, no. While we were talking, boom, all the lights go out. The inside lights are still on, but the Boston Market sign lights, the drive-through lights go off. Boom. And I'm like, what the heck? This is supposed to be open till 11, right? Mm-hmm. There's food there people need to pick up, and they turn their lights off. So I did. So after I said they just turned their lights off. I guess that from where they were standing, the ladies didn't realize it or see it. So I drove back around. This time the drive-through lights are off, the sign light, But I drove up to the mic, and I said, hello? I said, are you guys okay? We're thinking that maybe we need to call 911. And right away, she gets on clear as day. Oh, no, it's okay. We were just having trouble with our mic, but our drive-through mic. And I said, well, turning off your lights and locking the front door is a strange reaction to that. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, well, we were having trouble with our drive-thru. And I said, well, why are the lobby doors locked? There's ladies out there that were knocking and trying to get in. And she goes, our lobby's locked at 8 o'clock. And I'm like, well, okay, but then I went to the drive-thru window, and there was nobody there. And she's like, oh, yeah, I see that. I said, that other woman that lady is yelling at the drive-thru window. So we're going to go take care of that. She goes, are you going to want to order something? We only have XYZ. And I was like, no. That's fine. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to drive on through then. And when I went to the window, those women were standing at the window. They told me that the girl said that they only had XYZ to eat left, and so they were going to leave. And I was like, so all the way home, I kept thinking, what a strange happening that was.
Probably being robbed.
And so I called the non-emergency number because I couldn't say for certain that it was something bad, but it sure felt bad. Yeah. And the way when I said, we're thinking we need to call 911, but she got a, no, it's okay. Mm. And why would you not, if you really want to sell something to people, why would you not put a sign on the thing that says, our mics are out, come to the window? Yeah. Why would you turn off all the lights? Yeah. So either they were just trying to not work, but there was food there ready to be picked up, like from DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever, or some online order. There was orders ready.
That's weird.
So I called, And I was talking to the lady, and she was like, "Oh, we already have somebody, an officer on the way."
Oh.
So someone else, one of those other ladies, had called.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm glad, and I gave him my number if the officers needed to, ask me questions about what I saw. And only after I talked to the police did I put two and two together about that car that was sitting there. So I'm like, Eli goes, maybe it was a getaway car. And I'm like, yeah. And the guy couldn't get away because there was people standing there in front of the locked door.
Well, his accomplice or somebody might have still been inside because
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like the guy couldn't run out to the car because all those women were. There was like a guy and 3 women when I pulled up in front of that locked door. Yeah. So, because she's like, the 911 lady was like, did you actually see someone being held captive? I'm like, no, we didn't. I said, what I heard was one lady said she saw somebody walking back and forth, and that girl did come out, I guess, and talk to her about only 3 things being left. But why turn the lights off? And why all this nonsense about our mic? Because that's not like...
And then her mic's perfect when she's
talking.
And
then her mic's perfect. Well, it seems like we fixed it, she said. I'm like, something weird is going on.
Well, one time...
And I was like, Mark, when I got home, he's like, I was trying to listen to the police scanner, but I couldn't tell anything. So I don't know what actually happened. I never went and followed up with it, but I'm like, that's wrong. It was everything wrong. Like no normal, I couldn't explain that behavior in any way. I couldn't explain it away. Like, oh, well, so... Like, if you're still open, like, our lobby's closed at 8. Okay, well, first of all, put a sign on the door that says our lobby's closed at 8, like everybody else does. Like Taco Bell does, or, anybody else open late. It says, lobby's open till this, and drive-thru's open till this. No, there was nothing on there. And then, if your mic's broken, then when you heard me talking, then be at the window and say, I'm sorry, my mic is broken. Or walk outside and put a little sign. Like, there was nothing that made any kind of normal human behavior sense unless they just didn't want to work anymore. But even so, what were they going to do about those orders that needed to be picked up?
Yeah.
What were they going to do?
When I used to live in Little Rock, there was a Sonic. There was a Sonic there downtown near my house. And a lot of times when I had rehearsal or something like that, we'd get out at 10 o'clock or whatever. And so a lot of times I would go through the drive-through. Well, this was a Wednesday night, so it was after choir practice. And so I would go through the drive-through at Sonic and get whatever, a drink or a snack or whatever. And so this one Wednesday night, I went up to the... And all the lights were on, and there were, a few people around and everything else. And I pulled up to the microphone, and nobody said anything. And so I waited a minute or so, and nobody answered, nobody said anything. And so finally I said, hello, and nobody responded. And like this guy went by, like pushing the thing out to the dumpster, and he looked at me. But didn't say anything.
So you were just done for
and
the
walked
night.
out, and they didn't, And so, I was looking up and up at the front, up at the window, and nobody was there. They didn't like signaling me or anything like that. So then I pulled up, and there were other cars behind me, like 2 or 3 other cars behind me. And so I pulled up to the window, and I looked in there, and I could see people, and they were all talking to each other. Standing against the counter and just talking to each other, and nobody came to the window or anything. It was like...
Well, see, I could even understand that. Like they're just done for the night. That's explainable human behavior. But what I went through was not explainable human behavior. Weird. I couldn't make sense of it. Except that there was somebody in there threatening them.
And then when you were saying, I'm going to call 911, they said... Make them go away.
Yeah.
But having worked at McDonald's, for so long, all kinds of things happen.
Yeah.
And when you're there at night, you're
you know,
always having to be aware
Yeah.
of
So
stuff.
that's the only thing I could think. So I was glad that I called the cops, and I don't know actually what happened. Finally, I meant to look, Google it or whatever. I guess I still could, but man, that was so weird. So that's my weird story for the week.
When
And my husband said, if you see something, say something.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
When I lived in Little Rock, I think I told a story here about those people behind my apartment that threw rocks.
Yeah.
Well, sometime later, at the time that happened, there was like an old it used to be in the front. It said something about it was some kind of like butcher shop or meat market or something, but in the back it was like housing of some kind. Anyway, they turned it into apartments, right? So it was kind of catty corner to our apartment building. Like our apartment building, the front faced Commerce Street, and then there were like 2 or 3 old houses that faced Commerce Street, and then you turn the corner and you're on 9th Street, and this building faced 9th Street. So, but the rear end of it was kind of catty corner to our building, to the back side of our building. But anyway, they turned it into apartments, and one night I'm out there, and there were these 4 women that drove up to the building, and they were just sitting in the car talking, and this guy, I guess, had been in the building. I don't know what, but he was the boyfriend of, I guess, the girl that was driving the car, right? So he kind of leaning in the window and talking. And these other women that were with her said, were saying something, and he kind of yelled at them or whatever. So they got out of their car and they got into another car, but they didn't leave. They sat there and they were watching their friend in his car, and then he was like yelling at the girl, and he would get like. He was leaning on the window like this, and then he would get further and further and further in the window until he was like in her face, And I thought, he is going to put hands on her. He's going to do something. He's going to hit her. He's going to strangle her. I don't know what he's going to do. And that's why I think his friends were not, the girl's friends were not leaving either.
Yeah.
And so, having learned my lesson from the rock throwing guy,
Did you call?
I was in my apartment, and I called 911,
Yeah.
and I said, this guy is, he's about to hurt this girl. He's yelling at her, whatever. And so I kind of like stayed in my apartment, but I could see, what was going on. So the cops came, and they were, I could hear them talking to him about, do you live in this apartment? And I guess his name was not on the lease, and so they told him you had to leave.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were done.
And I heard him ask them, well, who called you guys? And they said, it's none of your business.
You're like,
called
oh my
us.
gosh.
Yeah.
Don't tell him. I don't want to
So they made him leave, and I think I don't know if they made her leave as well or whatever, but it was like he was just like, I couldn't stand it because
No.
I thought any minute now he's gonna hurt her.
Right.
He's gonna do something.
When Robert and I were living on 48th Street, there was a family just east of us. Kind of, you go past our door and their door is the next one. And it was, I don't think they were married, but the girl that lived there, the child girl, wasn't a child. She was Robert's age. She was like 16, 17 years old. And one night we hear a big commotion, and we hear yelling and doors slamming, and we had heard stuff like that before. I mean, it's an apartment complex, but it sounded bad.
Yeah.
And we could tell that the woman was trying to leave with the daughter. And he's yelling at them, and I'm watching out the window, and he was trying to keep them from leaving.
Mm.
And Robert, my son is a lot bigger than I am. in many ways, height and muscles. He took off into the parking lot. He wasn't wearing a shirt. But I'm like, Robert, stay in here. But he, he insisted, because that girl was somebody he knew from school. And this guy, she got into the car, the woman and the daughter got into the car and started pulling out, and he jumped on the car and punched a hole in the window.
Oh my gosh. And
I wasn't the only one that had called the police. I'm watching through my French door window, and I could see everything that was going on, and he was so drunk that he didn't feel the blood and all that stuff from punching the window, and Robert got him and was holding him back because he kept trying to get her. And and other people were there in the parking lot trying to keep him away from her. And we were very afraid that, something horrible was going to happen. Well, when the police arrive, he starts running away. And he ran toward the apartment. And I noticed he was barefoot. And the police got him right at the stairwell. By this time I was looking outside, but because the police were, but he ran under the stairs kind of, and they got him, and he's like, "What did I do? I didn't do anything. What did I do?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" But you have to. And I wasn't the only one on the phone with the police, but you have to call.
Well, that's what I was like. I told Mark, because I called Mark first, and I was like, "This is weird." And so we started talking, and I said, I gotta call because I will feel horrible if something. Maybe I should have called from the parking lot and stayed there, but me getting in the crossfire, it wouldn't help anything either. But I was like, I need to call, because at first I was like, well, no, it's just like, at first we thought they just wanted to stop working, but it was too weird. It was too strange. Like, literally, like they stopped everything they were doing. Like, if your drive-through mic is messed up, you still serve food. So anyway, I was just like, yeah, I had to call, because I'm like, I'm not going to be able to sleep if I think I didn't call and I should have, But anyway,
there was in my apartment in Little Rock, the girl lived next door to me when I first moved into that building. She had a boyfriend that lived with her for a while, and then he moved out, and she had a different boyfriend living there, and it seems like every other night they were having a fight of some kind, and the guys, there was guys that lived upstairs and the guys that lived downstairs that would call the police, like all the, because there was always something going on.
You gotta help out.
Yeah.
But last week we talked your ears off, so we're trying to be better about not talking your ears off.
But it's already been.
So it's been a while already. So I think we better sign off. It's been fun to sit and chat with you and craft with you guys. So make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your alert buttons, and let us know what you're working on. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.